In the distant future, humanity had spread across the stars. They had colonized planets and built advanced spaceships. However, they were known throughout the galaxy not for their accomplishments, but for their unpredictability. On a small green planet named Varnus, 3 adventurous explorers, Leah, Marco, and Sky, set out to learn more about the strange stories they had heard about Earth. As humans, they were curious to understand their own kind. The galaxy had spoken of humans as the most feared species, known for their wild nature and unrestrained emotions. Leah was the leader of their small crew. She was brave and loved discovering new things. Marco was the thinker, he always calculated risks before they acted. Sky was their engineer, clever with machines and technology. Together, they made a strong team. Before they set off for Earth, they visited the Galactic Archive. This gigantic building was filled with records of every species in the galaxy. They found a section dedicated to humans. The walls were lined with holographic stories showing human events. Some showed their amazing achievements in science and art, while others revealed their conflicts and wars. The tales spoke of love, hate, joy, and sadness that shaped humans. The fear comes from their emotions, Leah said, reading a text. They can feel so deeply that it can lead to both great kindness and terrible destruction. Eager to see it for themselves, the trio boarded their small spaceship, the Star Chaser. The ship hummed softly as they traveled through space, passing stars and colorful nebulae. After several days of travel, they finally arrived on Earth. The first thing they noticed was the blue and green beauty of the planet. They landed in a forest, surrounded by large trees and chirping birds. The scent of fresh air filled their lungs. They stepped out, feeling both excited and nervous. "I can't wait to meet them," Sky said, looking around. "Remember, we must be careful," Marco reminded them. "We don't know how they will react to us." As they walked through the forest, they heard voices. They edged closer and found a group of humans having a picnic. The humans were laughing, sharing food, and playing games. Leah smiled at the sight. Suddenly, one of the humans spotted them. "Look! What are those?" he shouted. The group turned, their laughter turning into gasps. Leah raised her hands. "We come in peace," she called out. The humans looked at each other, some curious, others frightened. The picnic group began to talk among themselves. Some suggested calling for help, while others wanted to approach the newcomers. Finally, a brave woman named Sarah stepped forward. "I'm Sarah." "Who are you?" "We are explorers from Varnus," Leah replied. "We wanted to learn about humans." Intrigued, Sarah nodded, her fear fading. "Okay, come join us," she said, waving for them to come closer. As they joined the picnic, Marco used his knowledge of human technology to show Sarah and her friends a holographic display of Varnus. The humans gasped in awe. They were fascinated by the colorful streets and friendly creatures that lived there. "So, is it true that humans are feared throughout the galaxy?" Marco asked. Sarah chuckled softly. "Some think we are dangerous because we have fought wars and created terrible things. But we also create beauty. Music, art, love, there's so much good in us." The picnic went on, and the explorers shared stories about their adventures. As the sun began to set, the mood shifted. A loud noise interrupted their laughter. A group of men approached, looking very angry. They were shouting about the aliens. Fear spread through the group. "Leave them alone," Sarah shouted, stepping in front of the explorers. "But they are not like us," one of the men yelled. "They could be dangerous." Leah felt a rush of panic. She could sense the tension rising. "We are not here to harm anyone," she said, her voice calm. But the angry men were not listening. They moved closer, waving their arms and shouting. Sarah bravely stood her ground, trying to protect her new friends. Stop, please, she pleaded. They have shown us nothing but kindness. However, the men continued to advance, their anger clouding their judgment. Just as it seemed everything would get worse, a loud roar echoed through the trees. A large bear emerged, attracted by the noise of the humans. Everyone froze, fear gripping their hearts. The bear stood tall, its eyes scanning the crowd. The angry men immediately turned and fled. The picnic group, along with the explorers, backed away slowly. "Wow, that was unexpected," Sky whispered. "I didn't think humans would be scared of something like that," Leah said, relieved but also curious. "Sometimes, fear makes us act in ways we don't intend," Marco said thoughtfully. As the bear wandered away, Sarah turned to the explorers. "See? Even we can be scared. It's part of being human." Leah nodded. "But it also shows courage. You stood up for us. Just like we would for you," Sarah smiled. The picnic resumed, and the atmosphere shifted to one of unity. The explorers learned more about human emotions, how they could lead to misunderstandings and accidents, but also to friendship and love. That night, they shared stories under the stars. Humans told tales of bravery and kindness, while the explorers shared stories of adventure across the galaxy. As they left Earth, Leah reflected on their journey. They had come to see humans as something to fear but learned that fear often masked understanding. Humans had their flaws but also their virtues, making them unique in the universe. In the end, Leah, Marco, and Sky realized it was not fear that defined humanity but the courage to face it together. And as they flew back to their home planet, they knew they would carry these lessons with them, reminding others that sometimes, the most feared species might just need a chance to be understood. Humans are insane. The most feared species in the universe. The year is 2742. Xyler, a Zidonian with skin like polished amethyst and eyes like molten gold, adjusted his translator implant. He was observing humans again, a species infamous across the galaxy. His research vessel, the Stardust Wanderer, orbited a small, blue planet, Earth. Xyler wasn't alone. His co-researcher, Kira, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering orb, floated beside him. "Another self-destructive act, Xyler." She pulsed, her voice a melodic hum. Xyler sighed. His screen showed live footage of humans engaged in what they called a football game. Two groups of humans were violently shoving each other. "Yes, Kira. It's fascinating, in a horrifying way." Their species, the Zidonians, were known for their calm logic and peaceful nature. Humans were the exact opposite. Their history was a tapestry woven with war, self-inflicted environmental damage, and inexplicable acts of both cruelty and kindness. They were the galaxy's most unpredictable species. The Galactic Council, a governing body composed of numerous sentient species, considered humans a paradox. Their technological advancements were astounding, yet their capacity for self-destruction was equally remarkable. They had mastered interstellar travel, only to almost destroy their own planet in the process. Xyler's mission was to understand humans. To decipher the enigma of their chaotic behavior. He began his research by studying their ancient texts, focusing on their history. He learned about world wars, religious conflicts, and the constant struggle for power. Each historical event seemed driven by illogical, irrational motivations. Kira, with her ability to access and process vast amounts of data, provided summaries of human behavior. Their emotional responses are unpredictable, Xyler. They experience intense joy and profound sadness, often within the same hour. And their capacity for empathy is baffling, Xyler added. They'll fight ferociously, yet show incredible compassion for their own kind, even their enemies. Their morality is fluid. He turned his attention to the present. He observed their social structures, their art, their music. He noted the beautiful intricacies of their cultures, alongside their deeply ingrained prejudices and hatreds. Then came the case of the Great Meme War. A seemingly innocuous internet trend had quickly escalated into a global conflict. Humans fought over silly images and videos, their aggression amplified by the power of social media. This, Kira pulsed, is why they are feared. Their capacity for collective madness is unparalleled. Zeiler studied a human named Ava. She was a historian, dedicated to understanding her species' past. Ava, unlike many of her peers, understood the irrationality of her species. She saw the self-destructive patterns in human history, the seemingly endless cycle of violence and chaos. Zeiler established contact with Ava through a carefully crafted message translated into multiple languages. He presented his research and sought her insights. To his surprise, Ava was cooperative, eagerly answering his questions. "We're a work in progress, a cosmic experiment," Ava said in a video message. "We're capable of amazing things, yet prone to self-destruction. We're learning, albeit slowly and painfully. We fight, but we also heal. We destroy, but we also create." Ava explained the concept of human progress. The slow, painstaking journey from barbarism to relative civility. She highlighted the positive changes, the efforts to mitigate their self-destructive tendencies. She described the advancements in science, art, and philosophy. "It's a messy, chaotic process, but we are trying," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of hope and despair. "We know we're not perfect. We make mistakes, catastrophic mistakes, but we learn from them, often too late. Our history is one of both incredible accomplishment and terrifying failure." Over the following years, Zeiler spent countless hours observing humans. He witnessed their destructive tendencies, and their extraordinary acts of kindness, compassion, and creativity. He studied their attempts at cooperation, their struggles for justice, and their capacity for both profound love and deep hatred. In the end, Zeiler concluded that humans were indeed insane. They were unpredictable, irrational, and prone to self-destruction. Yet, their capacity for innovation, their resilience, and their unexpected bursts of empathy made them undeniably fascinating, and perhaps even hopeful. They were, in a word, incomprehensible. Their story was a cautionary tale, a testament to the potential for both greatness and catastrophic failure. The most feared species in the universe was also, perhaps, the most fascinating. Zeiler, the calm, logical Zidonian scientist, finally understood, there was no simple answer to the human enigma. Their unpredictability was, in itself, their defining characteristic. The human species was, and always would be, a cosmic mystery. In the year 3023, the galaxy was a busy place, filled with many different species living on countless planets. Each species had its own customs, abilities, and fears. Among these species, humans were considered the most feared of all. They were seen as unpredictable, emotional, and capable of great destruction. On a small planet named Noxus, a group of aliens gathered in the Grand Council chamber. They were discussing the rising threat of humanity. The council consisted of three main members: Zorak, a tall green alien with tentacles; Fina, a blue, feathered creature who could see into the future; and Grom, a large, lumbering being made of stone. Zorak pounded his fist on the table. "We must act before humans invade us. They are known for their wars and chaos." Fina, who was gently hovering in the air, frowned. "I have seen the future, and it is dark if we do not take action. But understanding them may lead to a different path." Grom scratched his rocky head. "Understanding? Can we really understand beings who turn on each other? I have seen their battles, they destroy everything." The council debated this for hours. Finally, they decided to send a small team to Earth, the home planet of humans, to learn more about them. The team consisted of Fina, Zorak, and a young researcher named Tilo, an eager and curious pink creature, round and fluffy with small eyes that sparkled with excitement. As their spaceship flew toward Earth, Fina shared her visions with her teammates. I see people with different ideas, sometimes clashing. But there are also those who want peace and connection. When they landed, they found themselves in a busy city filled with lights, noise, and people moving in every direction. Tillo was amazed. He jumped out of the spaceship and raced around, taking in the sights with wide eyes. Look at them. They move so quickly and live so close together, he exclaimed, trying to catch the attention of a passing human. Zorik followed Tillo cautiously, while Fina stayed close to guide them. They observed the humans as they went about their daily lives. Some were laughing, others were crying. They could hear shouting in the street, but there were also moments of kindness and friendship. After a while, the team approached a small cafe where humans were sitting outside, sipping drinks and chatting. Fina suggested they try to communicate. She was nervous but believed they could learn something important. They approached a table where two women were talking. One had red hair and the other had dark hair. Zorik stepped forward. "Excuse me, we come in peace. We are not like others who may harm you." The two women stared at them, almost speechless. Tillo waved enthusiastically, trying to bring a smile to their faces. "We want to understand." The red-haired woman, named Lily, finally spoke. "Understand what? You're not from around here, are you?" "No," Fina said. "We come from Noxus. We want to learn about humans and why you are feared by other species." The women looked at each other, curious and a little amused. The dark-haired woman, named Mia, leaned in. "Well, humans can be complicated. We have the ability to create amazing things, but we can also be destructive." Zorik nodded slowly. "Yes, we have heard that humans have started wars." Lily responded, "Yes, and it's true. But those wars often come from misunderstandings or fear. We can be gentle, but sometimes our emotions get the best of us." Tillo jumped in, excited by their words. "What else do you do? What makes you special?" Mia smiled. "Well, we love art, music, and storytelling. We have dreams and hopes like everyone else. And we can be brave. Just because some of our history is dark doesn't mean we can't change." Fina felt encouraged. "Can we see your art? It might help us understand you better." The women agreed and led the aliens to a nearby gallery filled with colorful paintings and sculptures. As they walked through the gallery, Zorik marveled at the creativity of humans. He pointed to a painting of a sunset, and Lily said, "That one represents hope. Even in dark times, we seek beauty." Hours turned into days as the aliens immersed themselves in the human experience. They learned about love, friendship, and the spirit of cooperation. But there were moments of danger as well. They witnessed a protest that turned violent, and several humans began to shout, throwing things at each other. Fina felt a wave of fear wash over her. What if they destroy themselves? Zorik held her arm gently. "We must not forget the kindness we have seen. There is more to them than just chaos." Eventually, their time on Earth came to an end. The Council on Noxus was waiting for their report. As they boarded their spaceship, Tillo felt a sense of regret. "I wish we could stay longer. There's so much more to learn." Lily waved goodbye, tears in her eyes. "Remember us and what we've shown you. We're not all monsters." When they returned to Noxus, the council was eager to hear what they had learned. Zorik spoke first. "Humans hold great potential. There is both light and darkness, but they long for peace like we do." Fina added, "They are a mix of emotions and experiences. We must not judge them only by their history of war." Grom looked thoughtful. "So, what do we do now?" Tillo brightened. "We can create a project to connect with them, share our knowledge, and show them that peace is possible." The council was silent for a moment before Zarek spoke again. Yes, that is the way forward. We must reach out with understanding, not fear. From that day, Noxus began a new chapter, reaching out to humans with open hearts. And as for Earth, it may have been seen as the most feared species in the universe, but it held the potential for great change and hope. Through understanding and connection, even the most chaotic beings could find a way to embrace peace. Humans are insane. The most feared species in the universe. The year is 2742. Xyler, a seasoned explorer from the planet Xylos, adjusted his translator implant. He was observing a human colony on a newly discovered planet, Kepler 186f. His mission, to assess the human threat level. Xylos had heard legends, whispers across the galaxy, about the unpredictable, terrifying humans. Xyler watched a group of humans through his advanced viewing scope. They were arguing. One human, a tall, thin creature with brightly colored clothing, was gesturing wildly. Another, shorter and rounder, was shouting back, equally agitated. A third stood by, munching on something that resembled a brightly colored, glistening berry. Remarkable, Xyler muttered to himself, scribbling notes in his datapad. Conflict resolution through shouting. He'd observed countless alien species, many with complex societies, but none displayed such blatant, noisy disagreement. It was unsettling. Later, Xyler witnessed a sporting event. Humans were running, throwing, and hitting each other with various objects. They seemed to enjoy it. They cheered and screamed when one human fell over. Intriguing, Xyler noted. Self-inflicted harm for amusement. Completely illogical. Xylos's scientific understanding struggled to comprehend this behavior. He proceeded to observe human behavior on a grander scale. He studied their history. Their history was filled with seemingly senseless violence, periods of advancement punctuated by periods of self-destruction. Wars, famines, plagues, all self-inflicted wounds. Xyler found data on humans polluting their own planets, destroying entire ecosystems without a second thought. Self-destructive tendencies, Xyler concluded, his concern mounting. This species is a paradox. They possess incredible ingenuity, technological prowess beyond comprehension. Yet, they seem bent on destroying themselves and everything around them. His analysis deepened when he observed their art. Human art was a chaotic mix of beauty and terror. Paintings depicting both serene landscapes and scenes of unimaginable violence. Music ranging from soothing melodies to discordant, jarring sounds. Their literature was filled with both exquisite poetry and tales of utter brutality. They seemed to revel in contradictions, Xyler wrote. A species capable of creating beauty, also capable of unimaginable cruelty. Then came the event that cemented Xyler's assessment, the reality show. Xyler observed a group of humans confined in an artificial environment, forced to compete for survival. It was a spectacle of manufactured drama, orchestrated conflict, and blatant manipulation. This is disturbing, Xyler commented, his voice laced with a strange mixture of fear and fascination. They create entertainment out of suffering. They thrive on chaos. He observed the humans outside the reality show, too. Their technology was advanced, yet many seemed consumed by inconsequential pursuits. They spent hours staring at glowing rectangles, talking to others, not in person but through the glowing rectangles. Xyler discovered social media, a network where humans shared their thoughts, fears, and dreams. He found stories of kindness and love, but he also found torrents of hate, aggression, and misinformation. Humans could be simultaneously altruistic and incredibly cruel. Xyler studied the work of human scientists, their relentless pursuit of knowledge. They sought to understand the universe, to explore the cosmos, but their advancements often led to new ways to inflict harm. The technology that could heal also had the potential to destroy, and humans seemed equally comfortable with both possibilities. His observations were compiled into a detailed report, a chilling testament to the human species. He included documented instances of human kindness and compassion. But the overwhelming conclusion was inescapable: humans were inherently unpredictable. Their capacity for both good and evil was staggering. The report concluded with a simple statement: humans are the most feared species in the universe, not for their brute strength or advanced weaponry, but for their baffling, terrifying unpredictability. Their potential for both self-destruction and universal domination made them the ultimate wild card in the galactic equation. The final sentence read, "Proceed with extreme caution." Zeiler submitted the report. He hoped the Galactic Council would understand the inherent dangers posed by this unpredictable, self-destructive, yet brilliant species. He knew that the fate of countless worlds might rest on their ability to comprehend and manage the human paradox. The future, he feared, was uncertain. The future was human. The year is 2742. The Galactic Federation, a vast alliance of sentient species, held a summit. The topic: humans. Zeiler, a Zidonian with iridescent scales and 3 eyes, addressed the assembled delegates. "For centuries, we've observed them," he rasped, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Their capacity for both incredible creation and unimaginable destruction is unmatched." Kira, a tall, slender Kryll with skin like polished obsidian, nodded. "Their technology is breathtaking, yet they use it to wage wars of unbelievable savagery." She projected images onto the holographic display, scenes of human conflict, from ancient battles to modern, devastating wars. The delegates murmured uneasily. The humans, a relatively young species, had burst onto the galactic scene with astonishing speed. They'd mastered faster than light travel in a mere few centuries, far quicker than any other known race. Their ingenuity was undeniable. They'd built sprawling megacities on planets across the galaxy, colonized seemingly uninhabitable worlds, and developed technology that defied even the most advanced Federation members. But alongside their technological prowess lay a disturbing pattern: self-destruction. The delegates had observed countless examples of human civilizations rising to incredible heights, only to collapse into violent conflict and widespread ruin. Their wars were brutal, their capacity for cruelty seemingly boundless. Captain Rex, a grizzled veteran of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force, stood up. A human, surprisingly, he was a rare example of a human granted a place in the Federation. "You see only the violence," he said, his voice calm but firm. "You don't see the potential for good. Yes, we are capable of terrible things, but we also possess a unique capacity for empathy, for creativity, for love. We learn from our mistakes. Sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully, but we do learn." His words were met with skepticism. The delegates had witnessed too much to easily accept his perspective. The debate raged for days. Each species presented their evidence. The Grolak, a peaceful herbivore species, showed data illustrating the catastrophic environmental damage caused by human expansion. The Vashta, masters of psychic manipulation, presented evidence of human psychological instability, their tendencies towards extreme violence and unpredictable behavior. The evidence was overwhelming. Humans were unpredictable. Their creativity was boundless, but their capacity for self-destruction and cruelty was unparalleled. Fear began to creep into the discussions. The idea of limiting human expansion, even containment, began to gain traction. Meanwhile, on a remote human colony planet, a young scientist named Illyra was making a breakthrough. She was working on a revolutionary energy source, one that could solve the energy crisis crippling many human colonies. It was clean, powerful, and potentially limitless. It had the potential to change everything. News of Illyra's discovery reached the Federation summit. Zeiler, initially skeptical, found himself intrigued. He suggested a direct observation of the human scientist. A small team, including Kira, Rex, and Xyler, were sent to investigate. Their arrival on the colony planet was met with curiosity and some suspicion. The humans, wary of outsiders, initially resisted, but Illyra's passion and commitment to her work convinced them to cooperate. They spent weeks observing Illyra's work, her dedication to her project, her unwavering commitment to finding a solution to a global problem. They witnessed her interactions with her colleagues, her compassion, her drive. They saw a different side to humanity, a side rarely displayed on the galactic stage. As Illyra prepared for the final test of her energy source, the delegates watched, holding their breath. The test was a success. The device produced a clean, sustainable energy, potentially solving the galaxy's energy crisis. The climax came not in a battle or conflict, but in a moment of quiet revelation. Xyler, watching Illyra's exhausted but triumphant face, understood. Humans were a paradox, a species capable of both immense destruction and incredible creation. They were dangerous, unpredictable, but their potential for good was equally immense. The delegates, deeply moved, began to reconsider their stance. The fear didn't vanish completely, but it was tempered with a newfound respect and understanding. Perhaps, they thought, the solution wasn't containment but guidance, a partnership built on understanding and mutual respect, a shared future where the potential for good could outweigh the threat of destruction. The humans were insane, yes, but also incredibly brilliant, and frighteningly capable. And perhaps, just perhaps, that made them worth understanding. The future of the galaxy, they realized, was now intricately linked to the future of humanity. A future that was both terrifying and exhilaratingly uncertain. In a far corner of the universe, in a galaxy not too different from our own, there existed a gigantic spaceship known as the Valiant. This ship was operated by a team of highly skilled aliens called the Xanthrians. They had long arms, bright blue skin, and large eyes that sparkled with intelligence. The Xanthrians were explorers at heart, but they were also known for one thing: fear of humans. For centuries, stories of humans had traveled through the stars. Some said they were brilliant, capable of invention and creation beyond imagination. Others said they were violent, driven by greed and chaos. The Xanthrians were curious but cautious. Their leader, Captain Varos, often said, "Humans are the most dangerous species we've encountered. Approach with care." One day, while scanning a remote planet called Terra 7, the crew of the Valiant received an urgent signal. It was a distress call from an Earth-bound ship. The crew, led by a brave pilot named Kira, debated what to do. "Captain, we should go. They are in trouble," Kira said, her green eyes wide with determination. "They could be luring us into a trap," Varos replied, tapping his long fingers on the control panel. "They could also be innocent beings needing our help," said Drax, the ship's engineer, who was fascinated by human technology. The crew felt a spark of adventure. Despite their fears, they decided to investigate. The Valiant zoomed down through the clouds and landed softly on the planet's surface. The crew stepped out, their hearts pounding. They had heard tales, but now they were face to face with humans. Before they could gather their thoughts, a group of humans rushed toward them. The humans were panicking, shouting and waving their arms. One of them, a tall man with wild hair, stepped forward. "Thank you for coming. My name is Mark. We're under attack," he shouted. "Attack? Who is attacking you?" Captain Varos asked, trying to remain calm. Mark pointed toward the forest where dark shapes moved quickly. "Robots? They were sent by a powerful company to take over our land. They don't care about us, only profits." Kira and the crew felt a mix of concern and confusion. Was it true? Were humans being attacked by machines? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the forest, and a group of robotic drones emerged. They were metallic and menacing, with glowing red eyes. Humans detected. Initiating capture, one of the drones announced. The Xanthrians knew they had to act. Captain Varos shouted, "Get to the ship. We need to protect them." The crew and humans sprinted toward the Valiant, dodging lasers fired by the drones. Kira skillfully dodged bullets, grabbing Mark's arm as they dashed. Meanwhile, Drax worked frantically at the ship's console. "Quick! We need to power up the shields!" Drax yelled. As they reached the Valiant, Varos activated the ship's defenses. The shimmering energy shield enveloped the ship just as a laser beam hit it. The crew hurried inside, pulling Mark and his friends with them. "Now what?" Mark gasped, panting from fear. "We'll counterattack," Kira said, determination filling her voice. "We can use our ship's energy cannons. But the drones are many, and we have only one ship," cried another human, Sandra, her eyes wide. "We'll make it work," Varos said. "Trust us." They quickly planned their next move. Drax ran the systems while the rest readied the energy cannons. Kira piloted the ship just above the forest, scanning for the best targets. The drones advanced, shooting lasers and shouting, "Submit to capture." Varos gave the command. "Fire!" Bright beams shot out from the ship, hitting the drones. One by one, they exploded in a burst of metal and sparks. The humans cheered, but the Xanthrians remained serious. "More are coming. We have to keep moving," Kira said, steering the ship higher. The sounds of battle raged below. The humans, amazed by the ship's power, began to understand that not all aliens had ill intentions. Fighting side by side, they worked with the Xanthrians to protect their world. As they continued the fight, a massive drone, 10 times larger than the rest, emerged from the forest. It had a thick armor and was armed with heavy weapons. "What is that?" Mark shouted, fear creeping back into his voice. "That must be the main control unit," Varos realized. "If we destroy it, the other drones will shut down." Kira nodded, determination renewed. "Let's do it." With all energy concentrated on the giant drone, the Valiant soared down, dodging lasers and debris. Drax prepared a powerful shot that would strike hard. The ship whirled and danced through the air, the crew staying focused. Kira felt adrenaline rush through her veins as she aimed for the core of the massive drone. "Now!" Varos commanded. Drax released the energy beam. It shot out like a comet, glowing bright. Time slowed as the beam traveled, finally crashing into the giant drone. It exploded with a blinding flash, sending shockwaves through the air. For a moment, silence filled the area. Then, the remaining drones fell to the ground, lifeless. The humans erupted in cheers. "We did it!" Mark shouted, hugging Kira tightly. But Varos, ever the cautious leader, reminded them, "This battle was won, but we must ensure no one else harms your planet." The crew and humans exchanged words of gratitude. Together, they formed a plan to protect Terra 7 from future threats. By working together, they realized that fear of the unknown was less powerful than the strength of unity. As the Valiant prepared to leave, Captain Varos looked at them and smiled. "Perhaps humans are not so insane after all. You have shown bravery today." With new friendships formed and a shared purpose, the Xanthrians lifted into the stars once more, leaving behind the planet, but taking with them tales of courage and cooperation. And together, humans and Xanthrians stood ready to face whatever challenges the universe would throw at them next.